Welcome back. You're listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And thanks for sharing part of your holiday season with us. We're helping you get ready with those last-minute whatever to-dos because we know that it seems you always have to buy one more thing or get one more thing. And if you are a gardener, we want you to love some of these things for you and then for someone else who also may be a gardener.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you are a gardener and you get any of these gifts coming up that you're about to see, you're going to go crazy. So
some really creative things.
Let's talk to them about some of this stuff.
So there's a bunch of great websites and a bunch of places where you can find these things. So, in no particular, we're not trying to plug any particular brand, but these are some of the interesting things that might really satisfy the gardener beyond, here's a couple of cacti. We love succulents, but for instance, what about having one of those tractor scoot with bucket basket little numbers so that while you're sitting, you aren't just having to kneel in the garden, you can now be sitting in the garden, you can roll your supplies around. It's basically like a little tractor that has a bench on it and a little bucket on it, and now you can be leaning over and trimming and doing things or planting things, and so you're mobile.
Yeah, and then you can kind of stand up and then drag that little wagon behind you and go to the next location, right? But you've always got that little tractor seat that swivels.
I love that part.
Come on.
Yeah.
This thing is amazing.
So it's not cheap. It's about $90, but for that certain special gardener, check it out. You can Google and find there's probably different brands that make this, but it's basically a tractor scoot with a bucket basket for the garden.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This dual batch compost tumbler is pretty cool too. You can.
What's that?
It's just a compost tumbler essentially that is on a crank, right? Mm-hmm. So when you compost your stuff and you bring it out, usually you'll just put it in a pile and then you got to take a shovel and turn the soil. But when you have one of these tumblers, and I've used them, I've used really big ones that I think don't work as effectively because they end up getting so heavy that it takes like 5 guys to rotate it. But this thing is small enough that you can kind of make little batches of compost pretty easily, and it's very easy to tumble that size. About $170. It's a dual batch compost tumbler.
And it looks almost like a little mini grill.
And it really does. Yeah, and it's got a little triangular stand on it. You could move it from one part of the garden to the other pretty easily. And you're going to probably get, I'd say, so in the vicinity of 20 gallons of compost when you're done. Plenty.
And I love the idea, too, that it has a little lid because sometimes, people are a little nervous about the composting being smelly
or the varmints showing up and getting in there.
Hey, it's like a little buffet for them.
Look at this. Look at this place. Let's live here.
We have hit the jackpot.
Yep.
Now, here's something, because I'm the believer that you can never have too many containers for your garden. But this is not any old container. These are solar illuminated planters. So picture on your patio this kind of an opaque planter it stands pretty tall, and it's not cheap. It's about $160, but the idea is it comes in different colors, and so when the sun goes down and your pot of plants is going to glow, and now you have your instant little mood lighting in a shade of maybe lavender or orange or green or blue, and I think they even have white, and it's just kind of sitting there glowing. Isn't that kind of neat?
That is pretty cool.
It's for that special gardener on your list. $160 is not cheap, but you can still get it, and you can find these online. So it's a solar illuminated planter, basically.
Here's one that really appealed to me. This is called the Garden Kneeler. So this essentially is 2 parallel bars coming up about 2 feet off the ground with a padded knee surface, right? And this is so great because it's up off the ground a little bit, but to get up and down out of a kneeling position, I don't know about you, but this is not an easy thing for me to do. I can get up and down off the floor, but it's not as easy as it used to be. So to have the ability to use your hands at a little bit of a higher location,
kind of lift yourself
push up and then back down again, I think it's a really nice idea. About $40, the old garden kneeler.
Not bad.
Yep.
Of course, for stocking stuffers, you could always get a bunch of little good garden tools. Maybe consider some herb scissors, because a lot of people are getting into herb gardening, and you want to have that right kind of a little snip just for about $15, so that, let's say you're growing chives or cilantro or whatever, that person who's growing these things can quickly take them from the garden to the kitchen, or even some pocket snips. Any of these kind of great little scissors.
Very, very good. You know what else I love?
What's that?
The old men's garden clog.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know, because...
Well, they're men's and women's.
Yeah, but, the ones that I'm looking at here are men's. But, because they come in fashion-forward colors for every man in your life. You've got red, yellow, green, gray, and then, of course, black. But the good news about these is that, whenever I go out in the garden, I've got my shoes on. I get down in there and I'm in the garden bed messing around. You track the dirt back in the house. With these, you just leave them at the door.
Yeah.
You come in and out. It's very, very easy to do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, if you are still looking for that last-minute garden gift, and we are going to be getting to some of the plants you can give as well in a second, but the amaryllis bulb in a gift bag is kind of cool. You can find these also online as well as in some of the the brick and mortar stores, but the idea is it comes in a little burlap bag and you have maybe an amaryllis bulb or two, and for $20, you're giving somebody a really delightful gift and that they could be planting and enjoying, right now.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, how about the standing garden? Have you seen this thing?
What's this?
It's a redwood sort of huge window box that's about 3.5 feet wide by 1.5 feet deep. It's on 4 casters, right? So it rolls around, and it's really nice steel legs so that it's not going to rust, and powder coated. It's going to stay looking great forever.
So waist high, you're standing
about
right
waist
there,
high,
yeah.
and then it's got drainage holes on the bottom, and then lined on the interior. So it's like a great, huge window box made out of redwood that's not going to rot, that looks fantastic.
Now, I'm all about terrariums, and, we talk about them a lot on the show. You can now get terrarium kits. Have you noticed that the terrariums that are pre-made, and even in grocery stores, they sell them for a lot of money, and you can make them for pretty inexpensive, right?
Yeah, you sure can. Well,
Yeah.
You can. You do a great job.
Well, anyone can, and so, you could go for really dirt cheap and just make a kit yourself by getting, and again, for the gardener in your life, buying a couple of, maybe it's a fish bowl or a couple of apothecary jars or whatever vessel you like at a Michael's for maybe $10 or $15.
Sure.
Get a bunch of the different plants, maybe get now even at some of the hardware stores, they're selling really beautiful decorative rocks. In like jade color, recycled glass. And so you could give them, and then some soil, and then you give them all the elements, put it in a nice box, and they will have the joy of making their own terrarium for fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm liking too? This 4-quart deluxe rain barrel. So
that's great.
imagine, if you will, you can stock this rain barrel right below your gutter, right? Mm-hmm. And, have your gutter come and deposit water a little bit higher off the ground so that the barrel sits right under it. So that any rainwater that shows up goes in this barrel, and then there are 4 different hoses that come out to then irrigate plantings around there. And there's a little valve on it to open the water valve up when you want to water, and then keep it closed when you want to just store the water. But, it's a great thing to do, to just save some water. And
love it.
And not waste the gutter water that comes off the house.
Now, here are some great gift plants to be thinking about, because you find the right vessel, the perfect plant, that is a terrific gift. Like lavender. Lavender is drought tolerant. You can find a really cute lightweight pot, and it becomes the perfect present for someone who might be moving a lot. That's something to keep in mind.
Sure.
Or this asparagus fern. This is one of my favorite ferns. It kind of, it has a Dr. Seuss look to it because it's so wispy and fun. And all you have to do is, when you go to the garden centers, they have these ferns, but just ask for it. It is the asparagus fern, and it's just very tropical, and you can give that to them. Or even the golden cypress. Ooh. That has that kind of look of holiday and a minimalist feel. Those are great little, perfect gift plants that you can kind of add to your list as you're shopping for people who have, a love for the garden, right?
Great idea.
And then, of course, you can never go wrong with something like a basic succulent or ivy.
Yeah. Couldn't I don't know why you wouldn't get the succulents. Those are fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll put all these ideas on the list because, there's never enough time to talk about plants for the must shop for gardener. We'll have it all there for you because we hope that you will shop for not only the DIYer but the gardener in time for Christmas. Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole, the fun continues right here because we love to improve your home and improve your life.
Only for you.